understand from the Islamic books that Muhammad attended the church in Mecca for years and was in contact with priests. His wife Khadija always went to the church in Mecca. This was because of Muhammad's confidence in Christians. If these are the facts of Muhammad's life, and he honored his contemporary Bible so much, where did this story of alteration originate? This idea of accusation was begun after Muhammad fled from Mecca to Medina and took refuge in a Medinan tribe known as Khazraj, who hated Jews and Christians. To survive and be accepted, Muhammad adjusted himself to the ways of that tribe. Hatred creates serious problems in people's relationships. If you start hating a person or a group of people, that hatred leads you to create many false accusations against them, even call them the worst of beasts, and wish death on them. This was what happened with Muhammad in Medina. While he was in Mecca, he treated Jews and Christians as good role models and called their scriptures a light for people. But after fleeing to Medina, he called them the worst of beasts, ignored the significance of their scriptures, and furthermore forced them to leave their religions and become Muslims. What he did to Jews and Christians afterwards was completely the opposite of the instructions the Quran gives in the first era of Muhammad's ministry in Mecca. His logic was that his God had changed his mind about Jews, Christians, and their scriptures in order to please Muhammad. Does the true God speak against his own words and instructions at the cost of the truth? Not at all. This is one of the reasons that caused me to lose confidence in the Quran. As Muhammad's power was increasing in Medina year after year, the Quran was getting far from its original doctrine. It was becoming more confusing to people, even to his own people, as some became angry and left Islam for newfound unfairness and hostility to people. The Muhammad of Medina was not the Muhammad of Mecca anymore. In Mecca he was a peaceful man, did not push pagans to follow him. Jews and Christians were on the right path for following the Bible. He was even attending a church with his wife Khadija. But in Medina, he became pushy and cherished hatred towards Jews and Christians, using excuses that his God changed his mind to please him. In Medina, he was under pressure to search for any excuse to blame Jews and Christians in order to please his hosting tribe. He even taught his followers that his name was foretold in the Torah and the Gospel, so that his followers could in the future blame the Jews and Christians of forging the Bible if they could not find his name there. Years after Muhammad's death, Muslim teachers discovered that Muhammad's name did not exist in the Bible. Since it was illegal for them to shed any doubt on Muhammad's and the Quran's words, the easy and safe option was for them to blame Christians and Jews of corrupting the Bible and removing the name of Muhammad. Therefore, the news of the removal of the name of Muhammad from the Bible became widespread amongst Muslims. So we can see how Muhammad changed his attitudes toward Jews and Christians after his migration to Medina. For Muslim leaders and teachers, the validity of the Bible is surprisingly not based on its message, but rather on whether it contains the name of Muhammad or not. The real difference between these two books is not the existence or absence of a name. It is the salvation which the Bible provides for its followers in the life on earth that the Quran does not. Suppose Muhammad's name was in the Bible. What difference would it make? Nothing. The central message of the Bible is that you need to put your trust in Jesus Christ, who is alive in heaven and able to lead you to heaven. If Muhammad's name was in the Bible, it would still ask you to put your trust in Jesus. Why? Because only Jesus is the way, the truth, the life that leads to heaven.